Ahead on Sportsdesk, the Tigers are down but not out. While the Cards try to lower the curtain, it's Dawson that's taking another call. And Saskatchewan puts the boot to BC. Sportsdesk is brought to you by Mazda, maker of the 1987 Mazda 323, and by Gillette. Good evening. For the first time ever, over 50 million people have gone to the ballpark. And Jay fans contributed greatly to that total. This weekend, Exhibition Stadium was filled to the seams for the main event, the Jays and the Tigers. And fans got their money worth as Game 4 was like the previous 3, another close one. Alexander the Great standing between the Jays and a sweep. And in the first inning, his old teammates get to him. George Bell sends one to left. That scores Nelson Liriano, RBI number 134, 1-0 Jays. Jim Clancy on the mound for Toronto, throwing very well. Here he gets Darrell Evans in the 4th for his 3rd strikeout. Meanwhile, Alexander will settle down and find a groove, at one point retiring 13 in a row.
That is the first strikeout for Alexander.
Tom Anke relieves in the 8th and gets a scare from Evans, but Barfield makes a great grab. Just a defensive gem, and the Jays were 3 outs away from a sweep. But the fat lady must have been a little off-key. In the 9th, Kirk Gibson leads off with a home run to right. His 23rd. It is tied at 1, and we go to extra innings. In the 11th, Jeff Musselman starts the inning, and Darrell Evans leads off with a homer to center. The Tigers take a 2-1 lead. But the Jays won't quit. With 2 on in the bottom of the 11th, Jesse Barfield comes through. That scores Kelly Gruber, and the game is tied at 2. Then in lucky or unlucky 13, Gibson drops one into short center. Mosby can't handle it. Jim Wallwonder scores from second. 3-2 Tigers, and this time they hold on for the victory. And our pennant drive coverage continues. TSN will have the Jays in action tomorrow night, and then again on Tuesday as the Jays host the Milwaukee Brewers, both games starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. In Minnesota, the Twins hosted the Royals. Now, as of late, Kansas City has been enjoying a bit of a surge with a 4-game win streak to their credit. Minnesota wanted to put an end to that, and if they did, they would clinch at least a tie in the American League West. Pennant fever in Minneapolis as the Twins are looking to clinch at least a tie in the American League West. And the Twins jump on the Royals with a big first inning. Kirby Puckett gets things started with a blast to center field off of Charlie Liebrandt. 2-0 Minnesota. Still in the first, it's Gary Gaetti's turn. This shot to center was his 31st of the season, and it gave the Twins an early 3-0 lead. Minnesota wasn't finished scoring in the first inning. Kent Herbeck sent a mammoth shot way into right center field. The 2-run drive gave the Twins a 5-0 first inning lead. Bert Blyleven was the beneficiary of all the support. Blyleven struck out 8 and pitched a complete Game 5 hitter. The Twins clinch at least a tie for the Western Division title with an 8-1 victory over Kansas City. On to Oakland, where Abdullah Griffin and the Athletics are clinging to pennant hopes, facing the Chicago White Sox. Scoreless ball game into the 6th. Rick Honeycutt fans Gary Reedus. Honeycutt, in fact, hasn't given up a hit until the next batter. Donnie Hill smacks one deep to left. Will it be the first Chicago hit?
Still going back to the wall.
Yes, it will be. And a home run. Solo shot number 9 for Hill. Then Ivan Calderon steps up, hits a home run to straightaway center, his 27th of the year. Back-to-back homers by the White Sox ruin Honeycutt's day, gives Chicago a 2-0 lead. Additional homers by Calderon, his 2nd of the game, and Carlton Fisk, his 22nd of the season, opened up a 5-0 lead for the White Sox. They would go on to win it by the same score. Other scores for you. Baltimore defeating New York by a score of 9-5. Larry Sheets with his 30th home run. For the Yankees, Ricky Henderson had his 16th. California, Mark McLemore went 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs as California defeated Cleveland 11-8. For the Indians, Brian Dorsett had his first home run, Carmen Castillo with his 11th. Milwaukee over Boston 9-6. Robin Yount had 2 RBIs. first Brewer to reach 100 RBI since Cecil Cooper in 1983. And Paul Molitor had his 15th home run. And Seattle defeated Texas by a score of 5-3. Dave Hengel's first home run, a 3-run blast in the 7th, gave the Mariners the win. For Seattle, Mickey Brantley also homered, his 13th. Montreal is doing its part to keep tabs on both the Cards and the Mets in the National League East. Going into today's game against the Phillies, the Expos trailed St. Louis by 4 and New York by 3. We'll have that story for you right after this. Saskatchewan knows its chances of playing postseason are almost slim and none unless they can turn things around. Today they were at home to the Lions, who weren't going to make things easy at all. With Saskatchewan leading 3-0 in the first quarter, Coach John Gregory decides to gamble and get more. This fake punt is snapped to Gary Cochran, who rambles 48 yards to the BC2. On the next play, Walter Bender dives over the top, extending the Rough Riders' lead to 10-0. Late in the first quarter, Lou Pasaglia has his punt blocked by Norris Gibbs. It rolls out of the end zone, and Saskatchewan elects to take possession of the ball and kick a field goal. 13-0 for the home team until this catch and run by Jim Sandusky. That goes 75 yards for the first BC touchdown. That is only one of a very few good passes by Roy DeWalt on the day. This one is deflected and intercepted by Harry Skipper, setting up another Ridgeway field goal. And then this pass is picked off by Glenn Suter, who returns it 37 yards for another Rough Rider touchdown. Saskatchewan leads 23-8 at the half. Dave Ridgeway is the only real scoring threat on this soggy day. This is a 55-yarder he kicks in the third quarter, one of 7 that he kicks in the 35-12 upset of the BC Lions. A little earlier today, we had the Tiger Cats in action at home against the Stampeders. Hamilton is still trying to find the groove coming off of back-to-back losses to Toronto. Calgary, on the other hand, is in the groove, with Rick Warman taking over for the injured quarterback Rick Johnson. Word from the warring sides is that Thursday talks may resume. Until then, it's wait and see for both football fans in the States and in Canada. Around the streets of Montreal this morning, that city's marathon was run, and doing the running, there were a lot of international athletes, but at the finish line, it was Canadian talent who crossed first in both the men's and women's division.
Peter Maher is one of the early front-runners in Sunday's race. He's to the very right of your screen in gray as the leaders near the midway point of the race. Later on, it's down to just 2. Maher on your left, Abraha Orega of Ethiopia on your right. In the end, however, it was down to one man, and that man was Peter Maher. Maher finishing the race in a time of just over 2 hours and 15 minutes, having pulled away from the Ethiopian over the last 5Ks.
He asked me actually how I was, and when I told him I was strong, he kind of looked away again, and then he seemed to be losing his form. His form was, his shoulders were starting to roll, and I noticed. So that when we came for a sponging station, I didn't go for the sponge, and I accelerated when he went for it, and then maybe I got 10, 15, 20 yards on him, and I never looked back from then in.
On the women's side, Jacqueline Guéraud of Montreal wins in a time of 2 hours, 32 minutes and 52 seconds. She just beat out Alain Rochefort of Saint-Foy, Quebec, while Nicole Case of Quebec City finished third.
The crowd was great. A lot of people there, and Jacqueline there all the time. So that really helped me a lot. Oh, yes.
In the wheelchair division, Hans Frey of Switzerland set a course record, crossing the finish line in a time of 1 hour, 47 minutes.
And just a reminder, we will have Toronto at Milwaukee, or Toronto here to take on Milwaukee. The first 2 games of that series starting on Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's our show. I'll be back at 2. Hope you'll join us then. Goodbye. Sports Desk was brought to you by Mazda, maker of the 1987 Mazda 626, and by Gillette.